You don't hunt with an AR-15 unless you're hunting humans.
Gun companies want to sell guns.
You know, they're selling death.
Oh my lordy, where did we get these people? So this is a documentary called Making a Killing. And of course, as they love to do in redundant fashion, it vilifies the NRA because the NRA is the Illuminati, right? It made news last week when House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, I hate saying that word, hosted a screening of it. BearingArms.com writer Beth Baumann wrote a really thorough piece debunking this so-called documentary, and she joins us now. Now, before we start, how did I do on your last name?
It's Baumann.
Baumann, right? Yes, no, everybody doesn't realize this, but I'm slightly illiterate. Inconsistently so, but nonetheless illiterate.
It's okay.
Right. So, you know what? Have at it. Because I watched the trailer, and after puking in the bathroom, what is their deal? Like,
Well, the left and progressives who are quick to want to take our guns away, they use individual incidents of domestic violence to really pick and choose their agenda. They want to disarm us, so they use those far and few incidences where guns are used to try to create this notion that if you have a gun, you must be a killer. Yeah. And in my piece, I really tried debunking that myth by going into detail about what some of these statements say. Gun manufacturers are selling death is one of the things they say. No, they're selling self-defense.
It's interesting. Yeah, like it's weird to me because it's like, well, that means that I could literally look at the car industry and say that car manufacturers are selling death because of all the people who die every year in automotive accidents. So it's kind of this. There's a lack of just sheer. Oh my God! It just makes me. I just get these weird aneurysms and stuff because of it. And because the arguments are so dumb, they're almost indefensible. Exactly. Like there's really no retort.
You can apply that same logic to so many things. Okay, the alcohol industry sells alcohol, so therefore are they also responsible for DUIs? Yeah. At what point is there any individual responsibility?
Individual responsibility is not to their advantage. It doesn't work for them because the moment we can start focusing on individuals, like, normal people with a modicum of intelligence do, that then entails a certain level of responsibility.
Exactly.
And we all know responsibility, though, sucks sometimes. It's necessary for the world to function properly. And it bothers me because you're right. What it does is it creates this idea that we can continue to kind of scapegoat everything in this world that's bad onto something else. But what happens when we hit the wall and we realize, oh crap, like there is no scapegoating. Like it's either personal accountability or nothing.
Exactly. And one of the biggest things that this gun control movie does is it tries to paint gun owners as these crazy people who are just out every day loading up on ammo, loading up on firearms that, we're sitting in a bunker with 5,000 guns ready to take on the zombie apocalypse. And that's far from the truth.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though.
No, hey, get to the zombie apocalypse stuff. That's all. I never got into it, but hey.
No, but you're right. There's a very deliberate attempt to vilify firearm owners, which is interesting. Exactly. Which is interesting considering these are the same people who are talking about, we just want common sense gun measures and we're not against the Second Amendment. It's like we're for the Second Amendment, but everybody who owns a gun is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and then they wonder why we can't have any kind of dialogue with them.
Exactly, you are absolutely right.
That's productive.
Yeah.
But one of the most important things I think to point out about this movie that they get wrong is why the gun industry has so much money. So we see over $11 million in the gun industry, and they attribute it to us crazy gun owners going out and stockpiling. But really what they forget to take into account is sport shooting, trap, skeet. Kim Rhode was the first woman to win 6 medals consecutively in 6 Olympics. And where was the media on that? It involved guns, so nowhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The weird thing is this odd vilification of money, because the same people. I'm pretty sure this production company is making buckets and buckets of money, but yet as long as it's attributable to the gun industry, that's when money becomes evil.
Exactly.
And it's weird to me. Maybe people spend the money on guns because there's this thing called the Second Amendment, and we understand the importance of being able to defend yourself at some point in some time. And maybe we just like to go out and shoot sometimes, and maybe we just enjoy firearms for the sake of enjoying firearms. I don't understand why there's this incessant need to make it seem like the only reason anybody would want to own a firearm is because they're crazy, greedy, and purveyors of death.
Yep. Completely agree with you. Makes no sense.
So, now, with respect to that, do you think this film is going to be effective?
I think it'll be interesting to see what the gun control groups like Moms for Demand Action and Shannon Watts do with it. If they really get behind it and try to push it and offer screenings and stuff, maybe it will be effective. The fact that Nancy Pelosi and a handful of her anti-gun lackeys are jumping on board with it and hosting screenings, I think that'll be something to watch for. And I know you were talking with the last guy about political stuff.
Yeah.
But I think they're gearing up for the next election cycle already, and they're starting to plant that seed now.
And you're absolutely right. And I try to implore the importance of culture. The political stuff is great, and I think we do a great job of focusing on the political stuff. However, we've got to be better and more vigilant at changing the culture, or not even changing it, getting people to understand the culture, because there's a lot of people who are ignorant to what's going on with respect to firearms, or just in firearms in general. And so they watch a movie like this, they're evoked by their emotions, and then the ignorance creates this vacuum where all of the emotion gets to fill in, and it's all negative emotion. So now when they do hear a friend who says, "Oh yeah, I have a firearm," and they're like, "Oh no," I watched. What's interesting is the response when you have information. I watched the trailer and was looking at some of the anecdotal stories that they were telling, and I did feel something. There was an emotional response on my behalf, and it was like, those bastards.
Exactly.
It wasn't those damn guns. I'm looking at how can people do this, not, oh my gosh, these guns are so evil. We've got to get rid of them. Why? Just to get your opinion, why is it that people have a hard time making that connection?
I think a lot of that is in some ways a generational thing. Our generation, millennials, really feel a sense of entitlement. And part of that entitlement is the notion that everybody owes us something, that, everything is everybody else's fault. We didn't win a race, so we should get a participation trophy. We didn't win something, so it's other people's fault. I think that is kind of the same notion. If something bad happens, then it's other people's fault. There's no self-responsibility. It goes back to that very notion of, at what point do you hold people accountable? If someone stabs another person and they kill them, we call them a murderer.
Yeah.
When a terrorist bombs a place, we call it what it is. But when a killer uses a gun to do something bad, we blame the gun. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I have my theories, why it is there's this hyper focus on firearms. Now, I've stated a couple of them. One, I think just the general theatrics involved in firearms. They're loud. You see the movement, the explosion, all of those things, and so that can kind of razzle some people. Whereas with the knife, it tends to be a little more stealthy. But then again, then the question becomes, what about bombs? I can't think of anything more theatrical in nature than a bomb going off.
No, and part of that is a fear-based response. I'm a firm believer in everybody should shoot a gun at least once before coming to some sort of conclusion. The first time I ever shot a gun, I was very reluctant, and my dad, who's a law enforcement officer, had to say, "No, Beth, you got this.
Yeah.
We've worked through it. You've practiced loading and unloading. You know what you're doing." And it's the initial shot that shocks you and you realize, wow, I have the ability to end someone's life, but that doesn't mean that's going to be my prerogative.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how the other side will yell and scream about the symbolism of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
But in the literal sense of it, when we start talking about fire ownership and being able to protect and defend your life with something, then it's a problem. It's interesting how, that sense of empowerment doesn't transfer over to actually being able or being empowered to do it. Almost to the contrary, they mock us for our ability to use a firearm to defend ourselves. It's like, what are you overcompensating for? But then the same group of people will go and march down the street and talk about empowering people, empowering the weak, empowering the minorities. But then at the same time, the very thing that could do that, they vilify.
Exactly. And I had an ex-boyfriend who was abusive, and I choose to have a firearm to protect myself should I ever need. And I also think of stories like Kimberly Corbin.
Yeah.
She wants to use a firearm to protect her and her family. Who are we or the government to say that she shouldn't have that right, or that I shouldn't have that right? If you want to empower us to make our own decisions, to let us decide how to best defend ourselves. But don't say, we'll empower you, but you have to do it within these guidelines.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, thank you very much, Beth. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
For having me.
Oh, no, anytime. Please join us again.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And keep posting those great stories on bearingarms.com.
Thank you.
All righty. And coming up next, we're checking in with Springfield Armory to see what's new with those guys. We'll be back.